Welcome everyone, welcome back to the Drift HQ channel. We know it's been a little while since we filmed any builds for you guys, but here we are with a fresh new build for Drift Week. And I'll give you a little bit of insight why we haven't recorded anything. If you hadn't seen, we are in the compound now, and it's been a lot of hard work to get to this point before we could actually put something together. But we promise that we have so many builds lined up for you guys that it's going to be a great time. So 2022 is going to be awesome. But we have chosen this beauty all thanks to Jordan. I drove his car in Drift Week 3, I believe, and I'll tell you, this is one heck of a machine. This is mostly going to be focused on suspension, intercooler, oiling issues. I think that we're doing the crank hub, and that's one of the main reasons why Arcade Tunes is coming down to help us with that. Put in coilovers, the angle kit, obviously put in a hydro inside of it, put in dual calipers. The most basic thing for it to become a street/drift car. Kind of like Blue Thunder in the Drift Week 2 and Drift Week 3, where we kept the car simple but got a lot of seat time in the car. I'm not trying to go overkill. When we did the initial video with it, like the burnout video, I ended up catching this car on fire. So now, instead of just putting add-on parts for us to be able to get it ready to drift, we are actually fixing a few things. And here is the line that bursted and caused the fire. This is a turbo drain line. This line bursted, ended up catching the whole exhaust on fire, the whole underneath of the car. The other line that we did, we actually put extra protection because their tin foil is way too thin. And it burned the wastegates. It burned quite a few of the stuff, which Jordan had all in stock, sent it to us within a couple of days, and it's all been put together by Chris. So if we weren't making the video in the compound, we probably would have burned the car down. Luckily, because there were fire extinguishers right away, the guys ran up to the car and put the fire out. Within maybe 2 minutes or so, the hole underneath already was completely melted apart. So I got lucky there. So we're gonna pass on to Chris and to Jordan to explain to you guys what it actually takes between working on the motor to cool this car down, the parts that are necessary for you to beat on it, and the parts that are essential for us to be able to use to make it into a drift car. So we finish the car, pack it up, do a little bit of testing at the compound, and ship it off to Drift Week 4. So the master of pops and bangs is finally here, all the way from New York. We're about to receive the BMW legend himself and get this build going. The man himself.
What's good?
Welcome, brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
Let's get this thing going.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Let's go.
As it's like heavy, it has my life in it. I had to check the back and I was like, man, they better not lose this.
What's in here? What do we got in here?
Crank hub, timing tools, crank lock
It's
tool,
heavy.
valve core, yes, everything.
Let's see if F80s are really drift cars or not, right? Or you got the lucky one.
I don't know. You guys are so stupid.
How you get the blood pumping, right? Here we are. Nice arrival, right?
Yeah, you guys are fun. Is that the only off-road area, or there's more? Oh my god.
The quickest one to get here, though.
That's not the quickest one to get here. They're going
is.
straight to the quickest way.
No, I can't do that.
What's up, guys? Chris here from Drift HQ. Been off YouTube for a little bit, but we're coming back now with Duarte's F80 build for Drift Week 4. And we brought our special tool here from New York to give us a hand.
What's up, guys? I'm Jordan from Arcade Tunes, and I'm here to help with the crank hub, and I don't know what else. I asked Duarte, what does he want? And he said, I said, you need help, moral support. mechanic, and he answered yes to all the above. So I'm here to do whatever I can.
Basically, he has no idea what he's doing.
Yeah.
But we're going to figure it out. For now, we're just going to start tearing everything apart to get him into the corner where he needs to get in the front of the motor, and then we're going to start figuring things out. I am removing the front turbo inlet so we can get the radiator fan out and the radiator itself. We got to drain some coolant, drain the heat exchanger so we don't make a big mess when we start pulling everything apart. From that point, I'm going to start pulling the oil cooler and the heat exchanger off the front of the car. So we got to take the bumper off while Jordan's going to deal with all of the crank hub stuff that I know nothing about. Spin the motor, make sure that the number one piston's at top dead center, and then we can put our locking tool there and then put our lock in on the bottom, and then we can actually pull the little hub portion of the crank out that is prone to failing.
Yep.
All right, so we have the cams locked in and we have a pin in the crank to keep everything in the spot where it's supposed to be, so we keep our timing at top dead center. We have the cam gears out right now, and we are working on getting the rest of that timing chain and everything out of the way so that way we can pull the hub of the crank out and replace it with that pinned one, that new Johnny right there. Now we're just trying to do everything without dropping anything in the motor.
Because we're not trying to take this oil pan off.
Not trying to take this oil pan off today.
So we're pulling out the spline crank hub that's in the car currently, and we're putting in a pin crank hub. The real difference is this one, it does lock the timing gear to the crankshaft, but not the oil pump gear. So my fear is always if anything moves at all, it can relieve tension, like the bolt has to tension everything up, can relieve it, and then can spin. Also, I like the idea of the pin where you're drilling and securing. This is relying on friction of the splines to sort of bite into the crank snout. So I know people have said before you can remove this and put a keyed one in if you want. I haven't seen anyone do it, so I even told him, he was not that excited. I was like, I don't know how hard it can be to get this spline locked crank hub in there.
So it's going to be chewed up now.
But we have a puller in there right now, and it's sort of coming out pretty easy.
Yeah, I'm just quick rotation of the wrist and we got her moving, so.
I'm not sure how good you guys can see that, but it's definitely going.
Good to keep rolling?
Yeah, you can keep going. Oh, never mind. You're out. You're good. Comes out. Yep.
Yeah, so, look at that guy.
So that's all it bites into the crank, is that little amount right there. Versus this one, I'm not saying it doesn't bite. It does.
So that little guy versus this guy.
These pins, it's one piece, so you see you're missing a gear here. You're relying on the friction washers to hold it in for the oil pump, versus this is all one piece, so nothing could ever really move. I typically install 2-piece ones in my shop that are 2-pin, not 4-pin. That's why I have my 1200 horsepower car, and it works great. This is just one that I've gotten from a different manufacturer at one point, and we had a few of these, so I said, hey, I'm gonna hook you up one of these. But I think it's still better than that. We're gonna start drilling the crank hub. It comes with a special drill bit and a fixture. The fixture's right in there.
There she is.
Got the new crank hub in. I'm using the old bolt right now just to sort of work it in so it becomes flush to the crankshaft. And then the way that we actually do it typically is we'll time the whole motor and then pull out the crankshaft pin because that breaks really easily. We'll install my locking tool, I'll show you guys when we get to that point, to hold the crank properly to torque it. I just don't like torquing it with this here or the bottom. God forbid anything moves or slips. You never want to bend a valve or put extreme stress on the chain or the crankshaft by locking it in the rear, in my opinion. So we have a little custom tool. So I'm just gonna work this in and then start timing the motor. We got the valve cover on. I have the lower crank pin out, swap out my crank bolt, and then we'll throw on my the tool that we made, which once started its life as a Harbor Freight breaker bar. That is now our crank lock tool because I like holding it from the front. So we'll swap out the bolt, throw this on, and then Chris is gonna torque the bolt down. Right, Chris?
That's right.
He's gonna torque it to 75 foot-pounds because he looks like a strong guy, as mentioned before, I think. And then now that that's good, which all that torque does is sort of just mates everything together. Now we're gonna mark it and do 270 degrees.
So marker right at the top of our bolt, 12 o'clock. So then when this guy hits 9 o'clock, we know it's tight enough. Well, hopefully it's close to 9 o'clock as we can get. He's making it sound like we're not gonna get there.
Yeah, usually you get there if you're strong. I'm probably not strong enough, but no, it's just really bad. You might wanna, do you wanna go higher or is this height okay for you?
Yeah, no, we should definitely go higher.
Yeah. What's stopping me moving is my little bar over there, locking this way. How many degrees do you think that is, Chris?
Let's see. We're at 90.
Okay, cool.
So we're getting somewhere.
Yep. After a certain point, it won't get harder. It will just feel stretchy.
It won't get harder. It's when it stops moving that I'm worried.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we're at. We're at
All
90
right, you need
degrees.
the bar?
We're gonna need the bar already.
We're gonna fit over?
Yep.
Is that an aluminum handle?
Yep.
Cool. Is that a lot easier?
I'm not gonna jinx it. The longer you go, more leverage you create.
Crazy though, right?
It's wild. Does not feel like I'm supposed to be doing this right now. This is not what 75 foot-pounds looks like, Sean.
Yeah. He's like, I've been torquing my wheels wrong this whole time. You probably got pretty far.
Oh yeah, we're making progress.
Quite impressive.
Oh yeah, we're almost at 270.
Oh, good.
Look at that.
He's hired this. You want help?
That's 270, baby.
All right, cool.
Woo!
That's good.
That's a good workout.
He did all right. He did good. So crank hub's all done, valve cover's on. There's a few little things that we have to do, like put the fuel rail on, the spark plugs that I have for him, and then maybe some coil packs. Not sure if they're gonna do that yet, but I'm pretty much done with this part. And then the next thing is gonna be Chris tomorrow.
Yep, we're gonna start knocking out all the front suspension stuff, swap over the coilovers, put the Wise Fab kit on, see if we need to clearance anything, hammer anything, and all that fun stuff. We'll figure out how that goes. Hopefully less work than Jordan's F80.
Yeah. So everything pretty much engine-wise is done. Typically you wouldn't want to start the car with intake off, everything wide open. Yeah.
It's gonna be a little loud, but I want to hear what it sounds like with open turbo.
Yeah, no downpipes, no radiator, but just for a few seconds to make sure it turns on normal, runs normal, we're just gonna start it up.
Half the sensors are unplugged on this thing, and we're just gunning. Loud noises. It's actually not that bad.